Hello everybody, this is Jason Glatzer, live at the Malta Poker Festival with another episode with On the Road with Poker Listings. Here today we have a special guest, a man that I've known for a few years before the pandemic. It's one of the friends that doesn't go back all those many years, but a new friend, and then the pandemic happens and we lose touch. But the legendary Chris Da Silva, PokerStars Hippodrome Ambassador. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jason. Great to be here.
No, it's great. It's always great to see you and always great to see you play. And you were here for 2 weeks playing. You were not only playing the Malta Poker Festival, but also you were playing the Battle of Malta, but you won a side event there.
I did, yes.
And you basically were cashing in just about anything you were playing, more or less, over the last 2 weeks. And you highlighted that last night with a third place finish in the main event. So it's been quite the 2 weeks for you, the 25,000 and the little third place trophy. I mean, it's nice to get a trophy at all. Was amazing. And how were you feeling the day after, being done with all this poker grind, capped off with the win?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. As I said, I've been here for just under 2 weeks. I played the Battle of Malta, and then I came over just across the road to play the Malta Poker Festival. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Highs and lows, playing main events and side events. Just trying to play anything I can get my hands on, really. Not too much success in the Battle of Malta main event, but I was able to pick up a trophy in the side event. And over here, I had quite a deep run in the Malta Poker Festival. Really going for that win, trying to get another trophy, but unfortunately, I had to settle for third place. But it's the first time I've been able to get a trophy for not finishing first. So.
Yeah, it's nice. A podium finish.
Right. It's a bit. I'm not quite sure. It's a bit of a consolation prize, but to have a trophy for a third place, I guess I can always look at that in the future and remember how I messed up, how I butchered this final table, if I can say I butchered it.
Yeah, I mean, the final table was crazy. I came during 2 periods of time. I came in the beginning and I said, Chris, when you're down to the final 3, I'll come back. It wasn't like if you'll be down, but when. And as soon as I leave, I'm like, I basically should have just left 5 minutes before. Like, you got it all in with the guy and he just hits a royal flush. And,
that was bad timing.
And then anytime you were getting it in good, you were either chopping or losing and somehow still managed to get to third. And almost heads up, actually, because there was a hand at the end where I got the short stack jammed 9s. Yeah, and of course he hits quads against aces.
Unbelievable that was.
Yeah. So the luck, Lady Luck was not on your side that final table. Anybody that reads the live reports can get a gist of that as well. But it's absolutely amazing that you can take that and still finish on the podium. It just shows how much skill is involved when the luck's not running on your side, with knowing when to play pots, knowing when to raise people, when getting live reads, etc., etc. So did you feel like, even though you were running so bad, that the mental aspect was affecting you at all? It's always hard when you're getting bad beat after bad beat or cooler after cooler.
It was difficult, but it's something that I'm becoming more acclimatized to. I mean, I've been playing poker for a few years now, fortunately, and I've been able to see and experience, these emotions a few more times than others. So, even when things are not going my way, or, the bad beats, mentally just being strong enough to be able to, overcome it. Typically what happens with poker tournaments is usually a game of patience. So even when things are not going your way, as long as you manage to maintain and remain in the tournament, you hope, I say hope, we hope things will turn around at some point. And basically that's what I try to do. Even when things were not going my way, I just try to remain patient, try to be mentally headstrong, and, just remain and wait for good spots. And unfortunately with tournament poker, eventually those spots need to come sooner rather than later. Otherwise you're going to, pretty much blind away. But definitely very grateful to be able to finish third. Of course, I would have been happier to finish higher, but third place is sometimes as good as a win, and happy for another cash, happy for another deep run, and we push on. There's a lot of poker coming up, so, we push up hopefully we push on from here.
Yeah, it could be a nice warm-up for sure.
Absolutely.
And I notice when you play, you very often like to wear the headphones, like especially if something that you need to just refocus. You have like either a big win to get your emotions back level or the other way. So how does that help you? And if, let's say, this final table was televised and you weren't able to wear headphones, would it be a different story in terms of how you were able to manage your thought process?
The headphones serve multiple purposes. Sometimes it's just to block people out, because, I tend to be I try to be a character on the table, try to be, engaged in conversations and try to be quite present on the table. And sometimes the headphones block that off because it sort of has this, don't look at me, don't talk to me, I'm in my own zone, persona about it. But, times where I have to play without headphones, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. It just means that it makes me more present. It doesn't cut out the BS, I think I can say that. It doesn't cut out the BS as much as I'd like to, and sometimes you can be on a table with, all sorts of characters. Some people that say things to get under your skin, some people that just, sometimes people want to talk strategy, and there's sometimes conversations that you don't particularly want to hear. So that's one side that the headphones does help with, and it helps me block out and stay in my zone. But if I need to play without headphones, that's perfectly fine. It just means, you just have to adjust to every environment. All these attributes are not just one-sided. Everyone can wear headphones or choose not to wear headphones. We all have the same strengths and weaknesses. So if we have to play an event like on a feature table where headphones are not allowed, that's fine. I can't wear it, but neither can my opponents. So let's go. Let's play old school poker. Let's look at each other. Let's talk to each other. Let's trash talk. All those parts play a part. So it's fine. I'm relatively happy to adjust depending on what the environment is and what the rules and regulations are.
Good. And now you've been in Malta for 2 weeks. Have you seen anything besides the inside of a casino?
This trip, not so much so. I have had a few days off where I've gone to the beach, I've gone to the sauna, steam room, and tried to have a bit more relaxation. I've checked out quite a few nice restaurants. So yeah, not so much so, but Malta is always lovely. It's not my first time in Malta. I've been here 2 or 3 times now, luckily, touch wood. I recommend Malta to anyone, by the way. Anyone that hasn't been here, it's a great part of the world to be in. It's a great part of the world for multiple reasons, not just poker, but poker here is also awesome. I hope to be spending more time. I'm going to be back here for the next series of festivals later on in the summer, so I hope to book maybe a few days before my trip just so I can do a bit more sightseeing and actually have a good holiday.
Yeah, I don't believe the Malta Poker Festival has officially announced their dates yet, but I believe that we're looking at the October period for both those festivals.
Exactly. And, which is around my birthday time. So yeah, I'll be here to have some.
You have to go back to Battle of Malta because of the high roller. You won the title the last time it was held, and you just basically Hollywooded it this time. You're like, no, I don't want to play. I know you were playing other things, so I'm exaggerating quite a bit.
Well, I decided the chances of me keeping my title as the champion.
Too much pressure.
It's better for me not to play the event this time, and at least I can maintain that title rather than playing it and then lose that title. So, but no, that's not the reason I wasn't able to defend my title. I was caught up playing another side event, which I ended up going on to win. So I guess that sort of made up for me not playing that. But yes, I will be back in October to defend the Battle of Malta High Roller title.
Or just defend that you're winning a title every time you play the Battle of Malta. So you won the High Roller back in 2000, must have been 2019 when you entered on day 2 with 15 big blinds. I remember this clear as day because you basically just said, I'm just going to hop in and see what happens. Mm-hmm. And however long it was later, you were on the final table, just pretty excited that you made the final table because you entered on day 2, and then when you won, you were. I was doing commentating in the main event, but I was done that day. I remember having a nice drink and talk with you that day.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember that quite clearly. Yeah, as you said, just jumped into that on day 2 with minimum amount of big blinds and was able to turn that around and spin it up into a trophy and a win. And that's still my best trophy till today, that Battle of Malta trophy with the 2 swords.
Yeah, they have nice trophies. So Malta Poker Festival also, for the winners, the third place trophy is more of a standard one, but
right.
It should be a more standard one, to be fair.
Absolutely.
The fact that you got a trophy is just the added bonus.
The fact that we're able to have these trophy conversations is actually a privilege. I'm very, very privileged to be able to have these conversations. So yeah, thank you. And I'm very grateful to be able to play poker and be able to get my hands on some wins and some trophies. That's of course the positive. The other side of it is not that the other side of it that people don't always see is the work that goes on behind the scenes, the firing of bullets, hopping from one casino to another to play events and compete. The fact that we're able to get our hands on some trophies at some points is definitely a part to be grateful for, because not everyone has those privileges, I guess.
So the main event run was fantastic, and obviously it took up most of your poker time during this festival, but did you get a chance to play any of the side events as well?
Actually, no. I've played 2 events as part of Malta Poker Festival. I played they had a Hendon Mob Championship.
Yeah, the 2-day event.
I played that. That was a lot of fun. Everything about it was good. The venue here is very, very good. So everything sort of has a knock-on effect. The staff, everything about it. So I played that event, and then I played the main event. I didn't get a chance to play anything else, mainly because I was still involved in the main event right till the very, very end. So I didn't even get a chance to play the high roller or any of the other sides. But that's always the goal. I mean, most of the time when us poker players go to these festivals and we go there to play a specific event, we end up playing other events because we're eliminated from the main event that we came there for. So the fact that I was able to remain in the main event for 2, 3, 4 days, I'm more than happy with that, because it means I didn't get a chance to play the side events, but it means I had success with the main event. So, but hopefully and not hopefully, I'll be able to check out the other events in the future, but hopefully I'll still be able to do well and stay in the main event that I come here to focus on.
Very
Does that
cool.
make sense?
And I know you've had like other events leading up to this as well, and other events after. But when you come here, you're obviously seeing a different subset of people, like me and you, let's just say. I know with me, there were so many people. Did you have time to do like the catch-ups and socializations with everybody?
I did at different times and different little segments. I've seen a bunch of faces. First of all, it was just great to be here and see so many faces post the pandemic. Because, we've all been in our little hiatus over the last few years with this COVID. So just being out here, I've seen a different set of people in different stops, because I've been back on the road over the last few months traveling in different places. And of course, in different places, you see different people, which is always quite refreshing to see. But in Malta, I've seen different people that I haven't seen in a while. I've seen you. I haven't seen you, for a few years. So it's been nice. I've been able to catch up with a few people, been able to have a few drinks and, just hang out, especially on days off. I've been to the restaurant with a few friends. And yeah, there's a lot of things to do in Malta. So yeah, it's been nice. It's been nice. Not just poker. I always try to do things out of the poker table. And I always try to have other conversations besides poker, because when you're in these environments, you meet a lot of poker friends, and a lot of the times you end up talking about poker for a bit longer than you want to. So it's good to, be able to relate to people on different aspects, find out how they've been, how they've survived the pandemic. We've all had our own, different challenges in the last couple of years. So absolutely, it's been very refreshing to see some old friends and to be able to make a lot of new friends as well. Absolutely.
And I think the Malta Poker Festival facilitates that kind of environment with not like bombardment of tournaments that are completely overlapping with each other, and also providing some activities away from the casino, like the party the other night in Club 22, where yes, you may have played with somebody, but you didn't get a chance to talk with them, and then you will find out that this is a cool guy, cool girl. There were a lot of women here as well, which is another topic, but there were a lot of women, very good women poker players here as well, which is unusual for a poker festival. But to credit, Yvonne and Maureen, who was also working on the ladies event side, they made sure that they put together a welcoming group of people, and I think the social aspects are underrated at festivals like this, where not only do you get to play in a 300,000 guaranteed event, but that you're going to meet people that you may see around, but even not, now you're new friends, and you're going to have that moment that you think about away from the tables. That doesn't happen at, let's say, a lot of the more serious festivals where, there may be a players party at an EPT. Yeah. But, people aren't necessarily integrating with new people. It's like very like the pros are all together and the recs are kind of scrambling around. The shyer ones aren't able to get into the groove as much as a place like Malta Poker Festival, where there's so many welcoming people just going up to people, making sure that they're included in everything.
Yeah, people are a lot more welcoming. People don't take themselves too seriously over here. It's a lot more casual. You can just go up to anyone and talk to them. People are a lot more hospitable, which is very nice. But I don't know. I think the weather plays a big part with that. I think typically I find when you're in a climate that's very sunny and people are a lot more relaxed and having fun, it usually has a knock-on effect on everything else. So.
It does, but then I think about my experiences in Morocco, and I love Marrakesh. Mm-hmm. I love the casino there, so it's not like a mock on them. But some of the players come in with such attitude as well that I can imagine, more or less I'm on the sidelines just watching things play out. So for me, it doesn't affect my experience, but it can affect, let's say, a qualifier's experience if they're stuck on a table with a lot of hostile people. And then not being able to even understand what they're saying. And there's a little bit of that in Malta, to be fair, if you don't understand the Italian. As many times as, let's say, the floor announced that it's an English-only tournament, there's only so much that you can do when
Italian
50%
all the way
of the field
through.
is Italian. Yeah.
Yes, they speak Italian all the way through on the table. And I guess Italy is the coast is pretty close to here. So.
Yeah, the closest place is Sicily to Malta. So, but it's just also people have been coming from Italy to the Malta festivals, whether it's the Malta Poker Festival the last few years or Battle of Malta for many, many years.
Yeah.
And they're just have it on their calendars that they must go. So the fact that this was in May and not the usual time in October, November, and it was still this turnout to me was like, I was pleasantly surprised. I knew the guarantee was going to be met, but the main event was more than 50% more than the guarantee. It was close to $500,000 on a 300,000 guarantee, which did surprise me, actually.
Yeah. The numbers have been great. And as I said, it's been, going back to what you mentioned about seeing so many people, especially women around, it's great. It's great for the game to have more, the game constantly growing and to have more women. And just to be in an environment where women feel comfortable. And that's one thing I noticed here. A lot of the women playing poker over here, they felt a lot more comfortable on the table. It wasn't too intimidating. They didn't feel like they were being stared down. They weren't. A lot of the conversations that I overheard on the table were relatively pleasant. It wasn't men being sexist or making remarks or little comments as to, why are you here? These little comments that women can often hear on a poker table that deters them from being on a table or being in a field mainly dominated by men. So one thing I will say to poker players or people that are listening to this, especially male, please, we all have a responsibility to make everyone feel more welcome and comfortable on the table, whether that be a man or a woman. Women, please, when we're on the table, let's all try to be pleasant to each other, especially, and make people feel more welcome, because we certainly need more women playing poker. I know I have a few great friends doing great things in the space. Flip are doing a great thing. Fantastic ladies in poker. They're doing a great thing in terms of growing the game and trying to get more women out there. Yes, mention a few names out there. But yes, absolutely. Let's try and keep this environment and this space a more comfortable environment for men, women, and anyone that wants to play poker.
No, that's very valid, and I'm not sure because you were so busy playing the main event, I'm not sure you know exactly what they did for the women during this event. So it was like over 3 different days, there was something, but it just... I'll probably cover that in a different podcast, but just to give you an idea of what level they went to, they had a satellite the first day, but it was 25 euros for the satellite. But for that 25 euros, the satellite is free, basically. You're getting a free poker lesson from some of the top women players that came out, along with Yvonne as well, who knows poker as well. So, just a fantastic evening. And then everybody was allowed to bring a hand chart to the table, during the satellite, so that the new players can have an experience, be able to ask questions. It was a very casual environment. And then they had also a group tour as well to Valletta.
Nice, very nice.
So, and then they had the ladies event, but there were other informal activities, also planned. And then during the ladies event, there were also different added rewards to the ladies, and obviously, drinks and things like that too. So it's quite the encouragement. And then you did see a lot of these ladies maybe not enter the main event. A lot of them did, but they were planning to come, those were the ones that already had the main event in their mind.
Right.
Others entered satellites for the main events, and they got in that way, but they were more comfortable, I saw, playing side events, the newer ones. I'm not talking about Tanya or Chris Reed or Maureen that are comfortable playing anything. I'm talking about the random person that just comes in, because they're coming with a friend. They hear about this, and they all of a sudden now can feel comfortable. So I really like what they did there.
Kudos to them for doing that. That's fantastic.
And it just shows that there's different angles to approach different things in poker. But your point is very valid. No matter who it is on the table, unless they're causing problems, and then typically you can just call the floor, explain the situation politely. But in general, be polite to the ladies, be polite to the dealers. It's very easy not to when they're making mistakes, but we're all human.
Absolutely.
And keep in mind that during the pandemic, the dealers had to find other jobs. So, it's basically you have your very good dealers, but there's a new cycle of the next level, of dealers replacing some of the very good dealers that left.
Dealers are doing a great job, guys. Thanks for everything that you do.
Good. Now let's talk a little bit more, because we have a little bit more time with you before you have to rush off to the airport. Malta wasn't your only good experience this year. So you basically I looked at your Hendon mob, and there wasn't that much between the last time we met in Battle Malta until late last year, when it seemed like you got back onto the live scene with a little bit in between. Maybe you bricked the festival and nothing is showing up. But you have this nice score from, I believe it was like Grosvenor High Roller. So when you were playing that, did you feel now I'm back after I won it, or did you already feel you were back and you didn't lose a step, during this pandemic time?
Well, it was just being back playing live poker. I feel like I'm back.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have to be winning money or losing. It's just there's certain things in life that you appreciate more of, and the past few years of having a pandemic, not being able to physically touch poker chips or shuffle poker chips or touch physical cards. These are the small little things that I really, really took for granted. And during the pandemic, I realized, damn, I really missed this. It'd be nice to have this. So being back and playing live poker has been a lot of fun. Playing the high roller in Grosvenor in London. Yeah. That was a good experience. It was fun. It was a very tough field to play with, but to be honest with you, when I play most events in London these days, they tend to be quite tough fields, star-studded events. That was fun. It was an experience. The final that event was actually interesting because I bagged chip lead on day one, and I was chip leader for the whole of day two.
Those are fun.
Those are fun, exactly. It was everything was going according to plan. I guess I ended up finishing second in that, and it really needs to start turning these deep runs into more wins. But it was grateful to finish it. I'm always grateful to finish.
It was a nice bit of cash.
And it was a nice cash.
£60,000, a little bit less, maybe 1,557, but it was quite a lot.
I think it was about 59k in pounds, which is, definitely was a good start to the year. It started off the year well and aligned with my goals for the year, and it meant that I kicked off the year with a good start, and it's been good because it's a foundation. I've been able to push on from that and try to get some more and more favorable results, and doing quite well in the GPI ranking so far this year. I think I'm somewhere in the top 3 or so.
Okay, and you're going to Vegas soon too, so you'll be able to work on that. But so are the other Brits, so it's
exactly. There's a bunch of Brits. Very good, very, very, very good players on that list. But yes, going to Vegas. Hopefully, we can get all the deep runs on there. Hopefully, there's a lot of events to play in Vegas.
Yeah, it's just sick altogether. Not just at the I was about to say at the Rio, but at Bally's now, because with the WSOP moving, it's just I'm probably going to consciously continue thinking it's at the Rio, even if I'm there. One day, I'm just going to show up at the Rio. Where's everybody? But it's going to take a little time to get used to the move. But yeah, it's not only at Bally's, but with Wynn, Golden Nugget, Aria. Venetian, everybody, there's maybe one or two more, no Planet Hollywood apparently this year, but but there's so many different ones. Resorts World now as well. I know Robbie's going there for his mixed game festival, so that's probably a lot of other fun stuff at Resorts World, but it's a smaller room, and it just sounds like you can basically just choose what you want on any given day, and you have a choice between like 12 events. You know, do you want to go for bracelet hunting or something that you find more value that day?
So just hearing you mention all these names, all these places, is giving me the shivers. Just to be able to play at Aria, to be able to play at, Venetian and all these places, it's exciting. I am looking forward to playing Vegas, playing the World Series at Bally's. I'm not quite sure what to expect, but I'm sure with the team around there, they're going to do a great job. And I haven't quite decided on what my strategy is. To be honest, I need to sit down and work on my schedule for this World Series, because the whole concept of bracelet hunting and all of that sounds like a great idea, but realistically I need to actually
there may be better value on some days rather than entering a 5K 6 max just because it's going to be a smaller field that maybe you can win a bracelet in.
Right, exactly. But looking forward to it. Should be. I haven't been to Vegas since 2019, so really the fact that we've missed it over the last few years and it's going to be resuming is certainly very exciting.
And we'll have to make sure Steven doesn't go. Chidwick, he's going to go, but we have to kind of like tell him there's something big going on somewhere else so you can catch up to him in the rankings. And Jack, who's right on your tail, Hardcast, who's been absolutely on fire the past couple of years, I can't see him missing Vegas either. Well,
those two characters there, I think I'm quite comfortable to bet any amount that those two will be in Vegas. But it's fine. It creates for a healthy competition. So if we can, make the best man win, make the best players win, those guys will be there, and so would all the other Brits. And I wish everyone the best of luck.
It's nice to have at least your name in the top 5. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many good British players, and having your name in that conversation of the best player of the year, even if you don't win it, it has to still feel good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's an extra motivation. It's something. It's another list to look at and be like, okay, that's where it creates a different dimension and it gives you a different goal and something else to work towards. So it's a fun little. It's not really something I look at, but it's fun to have there on the side. Ultimately, depending on how you do on the tables, will determine all these lists. These lists all get generated on the side subconsciously. I guess for myself as a poker player, I just need to concentrate on playing cards and trying to get the best result possible.
Okay, and now to circle back a little bit, because we still have 2 more topics, but the one that's interesting to me, because the pandemic affected me quite a lot personally in not being able to travel, not necessarily financially, but more in the head. It's hard to describe what really happened there, but it's like I felt completely out of balance because I'm a bit of a I can be social when I want to be. It's I need that. It's and that couldn't be replaced by something else that was social or something else that was even that I liked. So how did it work out for you? I know we talked a little bit before that you don't play that much online poker. So did it hit you hard, or did you find something else in your life to replace the live poker side?
It's interesting to hear you say that. So the pandemic had different challenges on multiple people, myself included. People think I'm quite this extrovert, and I'm always out there talking and being sociable, but I'm actually more of an introvert than I come across to be. And the pandemic was difficult. I appreciated different elements of it. I appreciated having the time to myself, time where the world seemed to stop, because it's been fast, it's very fast moving, we're constantly up and down. And the fact that we're all somehow locked up in our own houses, in our own cities, in our own towns, that took a while to get my head round. I had to find different coping mechanisms around that, some that we can't really discuss. But it was a challenge. During lockdown 1, the start of lockdown, I attempted to play a bit of online poker. And it went okay. It ended profitably. However, I didn't enjoy the experience, and that's one thing I love about poker. I love the social attributes, meeting people, being physically face to face with people, being able to look at someone and try and figure out whether they're lying or they're telling the truth, whether they're bluffing or there's value, and a lot of attributes that I love about poker, I realized didn't exist online. So that was pretty much what helped me conclude, okay, this online poker, I didn't really want to do it for a prolonged period. So after the first few weeks of lockdown 1, I pretty much stopped with online. But I found other attributes, I found other things to do to fill the time. I put my business hat back on.
There we go.
I had some business ventures. In fact, during the pandemic, I tried out about 2 or 3 different business ventures. Some were successful, some were not so successful. 1 or 2 are still running right now.
Anything you want to plug with those businesses, or not so much?
No, not so much so, because they're not really poker related. So
Okay.
I guess it's not the audience is probably not going to appreciate that much. But you know, the pandemic was great because it meant we had to put different hats on. You know, we had to some of us had to come out of a comfort zone. Some of us, our revenue streams were capped, so we had to think of other ones. And I appreciated the pandemic for that also, because it showed that, you know, there's always multiple ways to do things. There's always multiple ways to make money. Sometimes we need a hard stop before we realize that we need to seek alternative routes. And sometimes we just need to put our hats on and get thinking. And the pandemic definitely gave me the opportunity to do that because, well, A, I didn't really have much of a choice because we were all stuck indoors trying to figure it all out. And B, sometimes when your back's against the wall, that's when you need to realize, you know, what your capabilities are.
And people will be surprised what they're capable are when they're put into an uncomfortable spot. But I think a lot of people learn that they're capable of a lot of different things. But as you said, it's affected everybody so differently. So it's always interesting for me to hear the positives that have come out from some people, because most people, you know, everybody had positives and negatives. It could be weighted that it was 99% negative, but there was that 1% positive. But it sounds like that you're now focusing on the positive elements and leaving the negative elements in the past. So that's an interesting approach, and probably a positive approach as well. So I should try to incorporate that into my own life and not worry about it.
Glass half full.
Yes.
Always trying to look for the positives and everything. I think that's a good mantra to live by.
For sure. Okay, so I know you need to run fairly soon. We have one more topic, and that is you are the PokerStars Hippodrome Ambassador, one of the PokerStars Hippodrome Ambassadors. I don't know if... Yeah, and then people know what that means, but you're at the Hippodrome. But what does it mean, let's say, when you're on the road? Do you feel like you're always representing the brand, you know, as you're walking around? Like you are always wearing the patch whenever you're playing, and typically even when you're not playing, as long as you're in the casino property.
Yeah.
So what does that entail, and how do people look at you maybe differently that you're an ambassador?
Well, I feel like I'm a living ambassador for Hippodrome. I mean, even before I was officially a sponsored pro by them, I was always a friend of the Hippodrome. Most people affiliate me with there because they would see me physically playing there. They would come to the Hippodrome and they would see me there. So it's almost a long story of just being a regular player at the Hippodrome to now being a sponsored pro by them. And it's a nice journey because I speak to a lot of people about this, and people just say, oh, how did this happen? Or how do I get so lucky? How did you get so lucky? You know, how can I get this? And I realize it's quite a privilege. It's fun representing the brand. In my opinion, and opinion shared by many others, it's the best casino in London. One of the best casinos in Europe, probably. And in terms of events that they have, when it comes to poker, it's second to none. You know, they have the best cash games in the country, and events that they've had running lately, it's been incredible. We had the UK IPT back in London for the first time in over 5, 6, 7 years. And that was a great success. That happened just at the start of last month. It went on for 10 days. And events coming up in the future at Hippodrome, again, very exciting. We have a new floor at the ground floor just for the poker tournaments where Lola's used to be. And the feedback there has just been awesome. There's screens everywhere. There's many tables. And, you know, the organization tends to be run by the typical EPT staffs. So, you know, you expect nothing but the best over there. But Hippodrome is actually coming up to the 10-year anniversary. So it's going to be the 10-year anniversary in July. So there's going to be a number of events to mark the occasion. I think there's going to be a poker tournament going on. I think it's a 550 event going on, and we're expecting quite a good turnout for that. There's going to be a bunch of seats given away for that. But just to celebrate the casino, 10 years running, and I believe they keep winning awards every year. I think they've recently won the best independent casino again for this year's award, and I believe they've won that over the last few years, just being marked down as the best casino in town. So it's great. I personally, it's a big privilege for me to be sponsored by them. And yeah, I hope to be able to keep doing well on the poker table and to make them proud.
Good. And are there any other events before then? Or is it just everybody's gearing up to this big anniversary? It is a big deal. I remember when it opened. Mm-hmm. I haven't been to the Hippodrome in a number of years, so I want to see the new area. So I'll have to make a visit to London just to check it out. But I've seen, the photos, but the Hippodrome is always this classy place you could go into, but classy in a way that you can feel like you can be yourself and have fun at the same time. And the location has always been, central London. You can get there pretty easily from anywhere in London, which is the other thing. I do like some of the other casinos in London, but I don't like their location. Per se, is a different story.
The location is just perfect. It's interesting, actually. I speak to people and they're going out on a night out, and I ask them, where are you guys going? And they said, we're going to the Hippodrome. We're going to have some drinks there. We're going to have some food. We're going to play some games, like table games. Or, it's not necessarily poker. People actually go there for a night out. For me, it's interesting because for me, I go there for poker. I go there for different reasons. But when I hear people that actually go there for different reasons, I think to myself, wow, it just, I guess, elaborates on how much of an iconic building it is. So 10 years to mark that will be quite amazing.
So you don't sneak off every once in a while and put like a cheeky 5 on the roulette wheel?
Unfortunately, I don't. I stay very, very far away from the table games.
Okay, you're a smart man that people can learn from. Maybe not the ideal casino customer, but
I try to.
The ideal for players to follow as a role model in that regard.
Right. I try to just give my money away on the poker table, and I think the casinos they're okay without my money.
Yeah. Okay, so now after this, you're going to go home for a little while, and then you have Vegas, or is there something in between that and that for you? And what's your? We talked a little bit about your plan, but how long do you plan to stay in Vegas for?
So after this, I'm going to go home for a while. I'm going to stay in London for a few weeks because I've just been traveling for a bit too much over the last few months, and then I'm going to head off to Vegas mid-June.
So it's quite a little bit of time you'll be home. Yeah,
I'll head up to Vegas like mid-June, and I'll probably be there for a month, leading into the main series, the World Series main, and that's about it really. I'm just going to take some time out. There's more important things to life from poker, so try and explore those other avenues. And another reason why I want to take some time out before I go to Vegas is because I feel like I've been playing a lot of cards over the last few months that I don't want to get burnt out. And there is a chance of keep playing because there's a lot of events coming up. And then by the time Vegas comes, I'm too burnt out, or sometimes I actually go through the phases where I hate the sight of cards. So I don't want to get to that stage. I'd like to get to Vegas as fresh as possible. So hence the little break I'm going to have before.
And then the key is to remain fresh before that main event starts, because the main event is just like a marathon in itself with such long days. And what I see is there's guys that have already spent 2 months there, and they enter the main and they're already exhausted before it happens. So
I've done that before. It's not always fun. You're talking about, I feel like you're talking about it. I've done that before where I've been in Vegas for such a long time. When it comes to the main event, it's like you feel burnt out. And that's a marathon on its own, so need to have...
Yeah, because it's your example that when you go to a festival, you look at one event and that's the priority. It's different, obviously, with the WSOP, because every event is a big event, but you still have the main event is the main goal. The main goal for any poker player is to one day win the WSOP main event, for the glory, for the money. The first goal is to play it, whether it's to qualify in or if you have the bankroll to enter in or play even a 1K satellite live. But there's online avenues where you can get in for very cheaply if you work your way through it. But then it's one thing to enter. And I remember I interviewed Jack Oliver, who was on the final table last year, as you know, and he was just thrilled to be there. So the first goal then after that is to make the money, then the final table, and then win the pretty bracelet. Mm-hmm. But if you're not rested, the chances are reduced as well. So it's a very good point to have a mind rest before the series, but then maybe that mind rest before the main event is some advice for players as well.
Absolutely, and I'll be taking that on as well. Indeed, I think that's a good tip. Take a few days off before the main event and be refreshed. Great tip. I like that. Jason.
Okay, so I helped Chris with one thing this podcast today. That's good. I feel like my day has been completed.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I think this wraps it up. Chris has a flight to catch in about 2.5 hours, I believe.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate the time that you made out right before hopping on your jet, your private jet.
Oh, I wish not so private. Not quite chartered.
Charter jet. Once again, this is Jason Glatzer with On the Road with Poker Listings here with PokerStars Hippodrome Ambassador Chris Da Silva, someone I always enjoy talking to unofficially, and it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks for having me.